Like nowadays, you know how kids are, if they get in trouble, they get sent to their room. It's like that.
Okay. Now, did Ricardo also agree that he should be locked in his room for months on end? Was that what he agreed to, or is that what your parents did? I'm responding to that question.
Right. If you know the answer to that question, Joy, you can answer.
I don't really know. Are you talking about? I'm not really sure. I don't understand the question.
Was Ricardo locked in a room with a chain lock on the door?
If it led up to that, are you talking about like at first or like during the end? Because he was down there and it was his room, so it's kind of been a lot of things that happened down there.
Right. When his room was first down there, it was in the exercise room. Is that right?
When he was first down there, he was inside the bunny's room.
Okay. Was he in the exercise room for a while?
He was first in the bunny's room.
Okay. Did he get moved to what used to be the storage closet, the blue room?
He did.
He did, okay. And you were telling us that it was his decision to go into his room instead of get a spanking. Is that right?
It was.
Okay.
It was.
Now, do you know if it was his decision for his mom and dad to put a lock on his door so that
I don't know.
he couldn't come out of his room anymore?
I don't know. I wasn't a part of that conversation. I was a part of the conversation where he decided that he didn't want to get spankings anymore, so she said other kids get sent to their room, so that's what he decided he wanted to do. And we said we wanted to still be able to do things, so we decided to still get spankings.
But was that before or after they put the lock on his door?
Before. It was around the time he first went down in the basement.
Okay. Now, when Ricardo was locked in that room, did you miss him?
If I missed him, I was allowed to go down there and see him if I wanted to.
Did you ever unlock that door? Did you ever unlock that door?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayfield. I wanted her to finish her response. Joy, you said if you wanted to, you were allowed to go down, and what was the rest of your response?
If I wanted to, I was allowed to go downstairs and see him. Our mom said we were allowed to go down. If we were ever worried about him, we were allowed to go downstairs and check on him.
All right, proceed.
Okay. Did you ever go down and unlock that door and talk to Ricardo?
No, sir.
You would have had to have asked permission to do that?
No, sir. I was allowed to go down there if I wanted to.
Okay. So you never wanted to?
It never really crossed my mind. If I wanted to know about him, I asked my mom. I asked if he was okay. I asked how he was doing.
After that lock was put on the door, did Ricardo get to go to tumbling or basketball or dance or the recital or anything at all with you? That's actually,
that whole question is a little bit,
okay.
I'm not sure how to explain it, but we hadn't done anything like tumbling or dance during that time, so he could not have gone with us.
Okay, so.
But I remember we went to a corn maze once and he was allowed to come with us.
Did y'all, after the lock was on the door, did y'all ever go to the movies?
Not of which I can remember.
Okay. Did y'all ever do anything outside?
We
Take a
did.
family trip somewhere?
We didn't do any family trips, but I know we did go outside and stuff.
Okay, I mean a family trip to the mall or the theater or the skating rink or something like that.
I don't remember anything specific like that, but I remember every time we went to the skating rink, he was with us because when we were younger, when our aunt and our mom and our dad were trying to teach us how to skate.
Okay, so that was before the lock was put on the door, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was in the basement.
So would Ezekiel That's all the questions I have right now. Thank you.
All right, anything else, Mr. Wimbush? No questions, Mrs. Wimbush?
I have one question. I don't know. I have one question for you. Do you remember or do you know how long Ricardo do you remember when the chain latch went on Ricardo's door?
After he tried to run away and he lied to the police.
Was it right after that or a long time after that?
It was like I don't. You know how when you're young, time flies really fast and you can't really pay attention to the days. But I know it was it wasn't exactly right after like the next day, but it was sometime after that. I don't really remember exactly how long it was.
Okay. Do you remember having a party? You and Hope planning a party?
We planned a party.
Was Ricardo at that party?
I think he was, because we were building a puzzle and we had split into teams, and he was on one team and we were on another team. I remember that. I'm pretty sure he was there though.
Okay. Do you remember when that party was?
I mean, like the exact date?
No.
I don't remember the exact date, but I don't exactly remember, like, I don't know when it was.
Okay.
I just know we had the party.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Joy, if you can just repeat for me, if you can remember what you said about what you were building at the party. Was it a puzzle?
Yes, it was a puzzle. It was a 500-piece puzzle.
Okay, thank you.
Me and my team are building River Run.
Okay, thank you, Joy. All right, Mr. Wimbush, the next witness. That will be tomorrow. Any other witnesses, Mr. Wimbush? All right, need you to speak up.
No other witness.
Mrs. Wimbush,
Is Isaiah not still here? He was here.
I believe we can inquire. Is that the next witness you wish to call?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Sapella, can you let us know if Isaiah is available?
Isaiah's still here.
All right, thank you, Joy. Mr. Sapella? All right.
Okay.
We need Isaiah next, please. Thank you, Joy. All right, Mr. Wimbush, do you intend to question Isaiah? All right, Mrs. Wimbush, you intend to question Isaiah? You can wait.
All right.
Gonna take care of you right here.
You were so good on TV before you. I'll sit right next to you.
Hi, are you Isaiah?
Yes.
All right, I'm Judge Fluker. Can you see me and hear me?
Yes.
All right, the only thing I need you to do is speak up loud and clear if anybody has any questions for you. Can you do that for me?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Mrs. Wimbush.
Hey, Isaiah.
Hi.
Hi. Are you okay? You need some water?
No.
No. Can you help me with the picture? I have a picture I'd like to show you.
All right, Isaiah, can you see that picture?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know what this is a picture of?
Yes.
What is it a picture of?
My bump.
Is this what your bump looked like when you were at home?
Yes.
Yes? Thank you. You said that you were throwing up at home. Do you remember what bathroom you threw up in?
No.
No. Do you remember going to the hospital when you were at home?
No.
Do you remember going to a wedding when you were at home?
Yes.
You remember going to a wedding?
Yes.
Were any of your sisters a part of that wedding?
Yes.
Who was the part of that wedding?
Faith and love.
Faith and Love? Okay. Do you remember going to the hospital after that wedding?
No.
No? Okay. That's all I have. Thank you, Isaiah.
Mr.
You're
May-
welcome.
Mr. Mayfield?
No question.
All right. Mr. Wimbush, no further video witnesses for you. Ms. Wimbush, any other video witnesses for you? All right. So all of the minor children witnesses are excused at this time? Mr. Wimbush? Mr. Mayfield?
Yes,
Correct. All right, Mr. Sapella, we are done with this witness, and at the appropriate time, if you'll ask Ms. Wallace to step back in the courtroom, we can shut down the video equipment for today's purposes, but please leave it in place in the event that it is needed again.
Okay, will do, Judge.
Thank you. And Hyatt, if you can assist with turning back the call and close. All right, Mr. Wimbush, you ready for your next witness?
Ricardo.
Are any other witnesses right now? Ms. Wimbush, you ready for your next witness? Okay, let me have the jury step out for just a moment. All right, Mr. Wimbush, is Ricardo the only other witness you intend to call?
Yes.
Ricardo Jr., I'm sorry. Mrs. Wimbush, other than Ricardo Jr., do you anticipate any other witnesses? No, ma'am. All right. What I'm going to do is we'll have some legal issues that we can take up this afternoon, and we will notify Ms. Wallace to have Ricardo Jr. available to testify beginning at 9 o'clock a.m. in the remote witness room here in the courtroom. And after that witness, do you expect to rest, Mr. Wimbush? Do you expect to rest or close the evidence portion of your case? Mrs. Wimbush, is that your intent as well? Yes, ma'am. All right. Let's... we'll have the jury, they can be excused from that room to report back to jury assembly at 9 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, there are some legal issues that I wish to take up. At this point, I'm going to do a preliminary inquiry. And I see Ms. Wallace on behalf of the Department of Family and Children's Services is in the courtroom. It is my understanding from each of the defendants that the only remaining minor child witness that they intend to call would be Ricardo Jr. If you will have him available in the remote witness room here at the courthouse beginning at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Yes, sir. And it's my understanding while Ms. Wallace is present, Mr. Wimbush, you do not intend to call or recall any other minor children with the exception of Ricardo Jr. Is that correct? That is correct. Ms. Wimbush, is that correct? That's correct. All right, so all other minor child witnesses other than Ricardo Jr. are excused from their subpoena at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor. Could I inquire as to the parents of the boys that are placed in Florida? Are they also excused?
That is the court's instruction based on my inquiry of each of the defendants. All minor child witnesses are excused at this time other than Ricardo Jr.
I believe their parents are also under subpoena. Are they likewise excused? Yes, ma'am.
And what are the parents' names so that the record is clear?
The foster parents?
So relative placement, wait just a minute, I'll tell you.
All right, if you could just place those names on the record, and I will inquire.
Yari Wimbush and Ronald Wimbush, Your Honor.
All right, Yari Wimbush and Ronald?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ronald Wimbush. Mr. Wimbush, are, for purposes of your case, are Yari and Ronald Wimbush excused from appearing in the court? Ms. Wimbush, are Yari and Ronald Wimbush excused from any appearance in the court for your case? All right, Mr. Mayfield, do you have any need for those witnesses?
No.
All right, they are excused from any further appearance under their subpoena.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, and let me inquire of Mr. Wimbush first. Are you going to need the assistance, other than for Ricardo Jr.'s testimony, are you going to need any other technical assistance by way of computers, laptops, or anything to present any additional evidence tomorrow?
No.
Mrs. Wimbush, will you need any type of equipment to present evidence tomorrow?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and that is the computer to play a recording?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and we'll address that as well. Let me give Mr. Mayfield a moment. Okay, so what I want to do is inquire initially of the defendants on their right to testify or not to testify, and to inquire of them based on whatever that decision is as to whether or not they wish the court to instruct the jury on that decision. So I will pose the questions to each of you. Mr. Wimbush, if you will respond first, and Ms. Wimbush, if you will respond after. All right, Mr. Wimbush, throughout this trial, you have been acting as a pro se litigant, exercising your right to represent yourself. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you as well, Ms. Wimbush?
Yes.
Do you understand that you and you alone make the decision as to whether or not you choose to testify or not testify?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you understand that if you choose to testify, that you would be treated as any other witness? That is, you would provide testimony on your own as a pro se litigant under oath, and then you would be subject to cross-examination by Mr. Mayfield on behalf of the state of Georgia. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you understand that if you choose to testify, you give up a very valuable right, which is the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you also understand that if you elected to testify, you also run the risk of saying something that would incriminate yourself?
Yes.
Have you given any thought, Mr. Wimbush, to whether or not you wish to testify or not testify in your own defense?
Yes.
And what is your decision? All right, and is there any reason that you would need to confer with standby counsel who is present in the courtroom before reaching your final decision? All right, Ms. Wimbush, what is your decision? Have you given any thought to your decision to testify or not to testify?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is your decision?
I will not.
Do you need any time to confer with standby counsel before you make the final decision?
No, ma'am.
All right. And just further inquiry, Mr. Wimbush, has anybody threatened you, coerced you, or suggested to you one way or the other that you should or should not testify in this case? Ms. Wimbush?
No.
All right. So the court finds, Mr. Mayfield, anything else for the record?
No, Your Honor.
Right, the court finds upon inquiry of each of the defendants, who are each pro se, each representing themselves in this case, that their decision not to testify is being made freely, knowingly, and intelligently after an inquiry upon the court and upon advice of their rights. So that is the court's ruling as to each. Under the law, I only received written requests to charge from Mrs. Wimbush. I have not received any from Mr. Wimbush. In your written request to charge, Mrs. Wimbush, you did not indicate one way or the other what your wishes were for whether or not the court would instruct the jury on your decision to testify or not to testify. Let me read what that instruction is, and I read it for the benefit of both of you so that you can tell me whether or not it is something that you wish me to instruct the jury on as it relates to the law on your decision to testify or not testify. I'm only required to give the charge if it is requested. It reads as follows. The defendants in a criminal case may take the stand and testify and be examined and cross-examined as any other witness. You should evaluate such testimony as you would that of any other witness. However, the defendants do not have to present any evidence nor testify. If the defendant or defendants choose not to testify, you may not consider that in any way in making your decision. So that is what the instruction would be to the jury, only upon request of one or both defendants. All right, Mr. Wimbush, after having been advised of what that instruction is, do you wish the court to give that instruction or not? Ms. Wimbush, do you wish the court to give that instruction or not?
No.
All right, very good. It will not be given. All right, and I am already in the process of drafting a preliminary request to charge, which is the law that the jury will be instructed upon at the conclusion of the case. I may be able to print out that rough draft, and I think I will. It is certainly not a final draft, but I think I will print that out and give it to everyone so that particularly the Wimbushes will have an opportunity to review that overnight. After reviewing it overnight, we will have a preliminary charge conference in the morning. I would expect to do that prior to resuming with Ricardo Jr.'s testimony. We will hear from Ricardo Jr. as a witness, and if each of the defendants rest at that time, we'll follow up with a final charge conference, and then everyone would need to be prepared to go forward with closing arguments at that time. Mr. Mayfield would have the opportunity to give an initial closing argument and a final closing argument if he so chooses. If he does not elect to give the initial closing argument, then each of the defendants would first give their closing argument, and he would solely give a final closing argument. Once closing arguments have been completed, then I would instruct the jury on the law, and then they would begin the deliberation of the case. So I'm going to print out the first draft of the court's instructions for everyone. I'll ask Ms. Krepisman if she could, Mr. Geary, if I could have you come around and ask Ms. Krepisman to step in so that she can make copies for everyone, and I'll print out proposed verdict forms. It is my intent to prepare a separate verdict form for each defendant, as there are also separate indictments where issue was joined. Anything on that issue, Mr. Mayfield?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Wimbush? Mrs. Wimbush? All right, so let me just print this out, and it's very rough at this time, but it'll give everybody an opportunity to review it.
If I were to come up with another charge, is it okay to bring that in tomorrow morning?
I'll consider your request in the morning. It is not timely, but I will let you know if I can consider anything further at that time.
Thank you.
Likewise, Your Honor, I also made a full request on the justification. All I'm asking for is the statutory language, the entire statutory language.
All right, it is part of my draft, but if you are seeking something else, you'll let me know, but it is part of the draft. I'm printing out this is off the record. I'm printing out my first draft of the charges and the proposed verdict forms. You can make a copy for everyone so they can review it overnight. Okay. Still printing. Okay, let me print the verdicts. That's the draft of the charge. Hold on. Shall I save it?
saved you the trouble.
Well, you know, my mind is
I
racing.
know. Believe me, I'm doing it. I'm getting all these emails.
That's one verdict form. Oh,
I added it to this after I told you that I was going to take them out. Do you want me to do that?
yeah. Let me email it to you. Do you email?
I already, you don't have to because I
Okay.
have it.
Okay. Very
You know,
good.
give me those, I'll recycle.
Okay.
And I'll,
Okay.
you know what, I should have saved them. Oh, I need to save them. But, okay.
Okay. All right. Back on the record.
Judge Booker?
Yes.
Is it possible for you to spend some time today reviewing to try to narrow down the...
Well, I want to address that. So if you can outline for the record exactly what recording you're seeking to tender for what purpose and whether or not in its entirety or certain portions. So can you lay that out for me, Ms. Wimbush?
It is a video interview of Ricardo Wimbush and Detective Churchill. And I'm not seeking to admit the entirety of the interview, but certain specific segments of the interview. For the purposes of either disproving facts or prior inconsistent statements.
Well, and understanding that a proper foundation would have to be laid even before you could seek to do that. Okay. All right, Mr. Mayfield, at this time, any response?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and so you need to be able to play it so that you can determine which portions.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and probably need assistance from Hyatt. So what's his extension? I can email him. Let me email Hyatt to come back to the courtroom. Is it video or audio?
Video.
All right, I'll get someone from AOC here to assist you with that. Anything else? Let's see. So understand that tomorrow it is anticipated, although that is not final, that Ricardo is the last witness for each of the defendants. We will then have a brief conference to confirm the final charges that will be given to the jury, and you each need to be prepared to go forward with closing argument at that time. All right?
Your Honor, so the DFACS employees are all excused?
That's my understanding, but let's place their names on the record just so that there aren't any issues. Do you have that with you?
I think I know everyone that was subpoenaed. Kayla Mason, I believe, Letitia Davis, Jamaica Key, and maybe Deborah Brooks.
All right. Each of those witnesses and any that may have been left off but were subpoenaed that are DFACS employees or affiliated with DFACS. Mr. Wimbush, do you agree that they are excused from appearing? Yes. Ms. Wimbush, do you also agree that they are excused from appearing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. They are excused for the record. Thank you. All right. Anything else, Mr. Mayfield? If you'll just wait briefly, Ms. Preppisman is getting everyone the jury charges and the proposed verdict form for everyone to review tonight. Mr. Geary?
Can I clarify one witness issue?
All right, Ms. Wimbush, do you wish to confer with Mr. Geary on a witness issue?
Yes.
All right, come forward, Mr. Geary, and confer with her at her request.
Can I clarify for the record, the state requests to maintain custody of the state's exhibits overnight?
Yes, all the exhibits that have been admitted will remain in the custody of the state to be returned to the courtroom at 9 o'clock.
Your Honor, I'll prefer that the defense exhibits be left with the court.
Correct. That was the state exhibits that you will take possession of. The defense exhibits will remain with the court reporter. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes. She has the CD. It's right in front of her. You can just go ahead and grab it. Mr. Gary, may we secure that CD so that we can kind of queue it up? You could be at ease in the hallway if you wish to gather your stuff, and I can have Ms. Crepusman bring it out to you, or you're free to remain, whatever you prefer. We're going to go.
I had stipulated to the authenticity, but would prefer to make sure that it's simply the right video.
Okay, so why don't you, we are going to go off the record. I am not going to be a part of this portion that is going on. Hyatt from AOC will assist Mrs. Wimbush with getting the video queued up so that she can determine what portions she wishes to play for the witness tomorrow. And you need to determine how you're going to recall, whether it's by the timer or whatever, but you'll need to be able to recall that. And Mr. Mayfield is going to stick around just to make sure that it is the video that he anticipates it to be. Other than that, we are off the record. In recess for the night.